What's good, everyone? OJ here. Welcome back to another Nintendo Switch news video and a bit more. We've got a big video for you guys here today, but before we get into that, please make sure you hit that like button and also subscribe if you are someone new. I drop daily gaming content and also live streams, so you're going to want to stay informed with all things when it comes to E3 rumors, leaks, news. It should be a big June, big July, big summer. But anyway, let's get right into the news here, guys, and we're going to talk about why Nintendo has a huge E3 2021 planned, if we don't already know at this point, depending on what happens this week. Now, E3 officially put out their sponsors list for E3 2021, and right at the top you have two of the big three with the pinnacle sponsors of Nintendo and Xbox. Now, if you move down the list here, before we kind of focus in on Nintendo, you've got premier sponsors with Ubisoft, Square Enix, and Verizon. Then after that, you've got feature sponsors, which is Take-Two and Razer. After that, you have elite sponsors, which is Mythical, Capcom, and Freedom Games. Then you have showcase sponsors with Bandai Namco Entertainment, Warner Bros, Sega, Gearbox, one that I can't see because it's a little bit too small, but you guys will see it up here, Binge, 24 Entertainment, and Intellivision Amico in the house. Tommy Tellerico, let's go. Next up, you have the exhibitors. You have Xseed, Marvelous. You've also got Outer Games, NetEase, and Turtle Beach, and a bunch of other companies, whether they do arcade games like the 1-Up cabinets or other stuff as well. So let's talk about this, guys. Let's talk about this just a little bit, because I think this means something. Obviously, we heard about Microsoft's presser that's going on June 13th. They're going to have a big show because they've had no real first-party games for more than a year, about a year at this point. Well, going on a year, because they have to delay Halo, and there hasn't been really anything else. We've gotten a few, like, what was it, like the Medium, but that's not really first party. That's just like a paid exclusive. So we really haven't had much when it comes to Microsoft on the first party realm. So I'm hoping that we actually get some good reveals and release dates for some first party games, and of course Halo. But let's talk about Nintendo, because them being a pinnacle sponsor for this show, Nintendo's always brought some pretty good games to E3 over the years, over the past decade. It actually has been like kind of sometimes hit and miss, but when they hit on a E3, it's usually pretty good. I still remember some of the E3s that they had in the past. I know E3 2014 was absolutely fantastic. E3, I think it was 2017, the year that the Nintendo Switch actually launched. That was a very good E3 as well. E3 2019 was fantastic too. So I think that we're due for a pretty good E3, considering what happened last year with the pandemic and everything. There was definitely stuff that got delayed that Nintendo probably wanted to show this year but couldn't. So I'm expecting this to be a pinnacle E3 and a pinnacle year for Nintendo, because they've already started out pretty good. We've got some dope games, some ports, remasters, remakes. We got some new games coming out as well, stuff like Pokemon Snap that came out, Bravely Default 2. There's been some good stuff on the third party front as well, Persona 5 Strikers, Shin Megami Tensei, stuff like that. So I'm expecting there to be some pretty good games in the second half. We've got Mario that's coming out pretty soon here, the golf game, Mario Golf Super Rush, so that should be good. And there's also Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD, plus a bunch of other third-party games. So I'm expecting this E3 to be pretty big for Nintendo. And the second half of the year, there's already been some rumors, and we're going to talk about a game in this next topic here. There's been some rumors about how Nintendo has a good or a big second half for more of the core line of games planned. We heard about Pokemon already. If you haven't watched my RPG news videos, make sure you check that out. Pokemon, Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl, those got release dates as well. Pokemon Legends also got a release date as well. So I think that it's going to be a pretty stacked year, and not only just a stacked year for the calendar year, but also into next year as well, because we already got stuff like Splatoon 3 announced, Pokemon Legends announced that are coming out next year, Project Triangle Strategy as well. So it's going to be a stacked E3. It's going to be a stacked year, and I cannot wait to see what Nintendo has in store for us. Hopefully we get some information, or we get an announcement of that new Nintendo Switch that's going to be coming out, this revision that's going to be able to play the current Switch games. Okay, so for those who are getting all crazy about it, that's going to be able to play the current Switch games, and maybe even a few other enhanced games, or maybe some exclusives that maybe can't run on the regular Switch. So we'll see what happens going forward in the future. So what are your thoughts on Nintendo being a pinnacle sponsor, Xbox as well, and what E3 is lining up for this year's show? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. All right, and moving on to the next topic here, guys. It looks like we have something that caused a little bit of a buzz online over the weekend, but it might have been a little bit old, but still, it's relevant. It's Metroid. We're going to talk about it. I saw this on DualShockers at first. It also went to my phone from some other website, but I wanted to talk about this. So apparently, Walmart Canada is back at it again. Back at it again with the leaks. So apparently, Metroid Nintendo Switch appeared on Walmart, but there was an update that came out that stated that it was a little bit old and had been spotted before, and the release date has been updated. So apparently there was a release date that was sooner than what they updated it to, which I'm looking at it and it looks like it's like December, so the very end. So it's a placeholder, but it's right before E3, right? Or it's the year of E3 that E3's back. We haven't heard from Metroid in a very long time. There's been rumors about multiple Metroid games. I mean, we know about Metroid Prime 4. That's a game that we know about. They're rebuilding it, Retro Studios. They've been hiring a bunch of talent. They got a bigger place to work in. Like, they're working on that game. I still think that it's going to come out on the Nintendo Switch, but I think it's going to be a next year's game. They're probably going to show it off this year, hopefully at E3. If not at E3, they're going to show it off at a Nintendo Direct in the fall, and then I think it will launch in 2022 and maybe have some Switch Pro or Switch Revision enhancements. And then I feel that this year they're actually going to talk more about this other Metroid game, the 2D Metroid game that's apparently in development from Mercury Steam. Now, for those who don't know who Mercury Steam is, that is the developers behind the fantastic Metroid Samus Returns on the Nintendo 3DS. So they have a knack for making these 2D classic type of games. They did it with Castlevania on the 3DS as well. So I think that this next one, them working on the Switch, getting a drastic power bump when it comes to fidelity, when it comes to resolution, when it comes to controls and frame rate and everything that you can do on the Switch over the Nintendo 3DS, I think this is going to be an extremely high quality Metroid game. Now, the question about this game is, what is it going to be actually? Is it going to be a remake of a previous game like they did with Samus Returns? Or is it going to finally take the series forward with a new title? And I'm hoping that it's a new title. I hope that it's a new game. Don't get me wrong, remakes are great. I love remakes. I think that they're cool. Samus Returns was great, but I would like to see the new Metroid game. I'd like to see something more outside of just a remake of a game, just because I think that it's been a long time since we've gotten the 2D Metroid games have the story pushed forward more than like Fusion or Super Metroid or whatever the case is. Like, they've been going back in time, and apparently like Prime is like before like the original Metroid or something like that, or something that it's where it's before. So we need to actually move the storyline forward. So that's what I would like to see. Hopefully Nintendo trusts them enough with that, but even if they don't, oh well, it is what it is. It's Metroid. Go out there and buy it. Metroid fans have been clamoring for a game. Hey, bring us something on Switch. Well, here you go. Hopefully this is going to be it, but I think that's going to be the game that gets more shine at E3, more so than Metroid Prime 4, because I still think that they're working on that one and want to make a extremely good first impression, but it's just not ready quite yet. So what are your thoughts on this, guys, when it comes to this listing with Walmart Canada, and what do you want to see at E3 when it comes to Metroid 2D and also with Metroid Prime? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. All right, and moving on to the final topic here, we have to talk about our daily Twitter stupid. You know, usually I don't talk about Twitter too much, but this whole controversy with Aloy, with Horizon Zero Dawn / Horizon Forbidden West is absolutely ridiculous. Now, I refuse to talk about this multiple times on Twitter because so many people brought it up, and I think that it's stupid to talk about it for free for no reason, but I gotta talk about this because I think this is absolutely ridiculous, and this is exactly the reason why gamers have this weird perception from other people out there. So we have to discuss this. Listen, Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo, they don't owe all of you single dudes that want to sit there and look at a freaking model or whatever the case is when you play video games. They don't owe you anything. They don't have to make characters that are beauty pageant contestants or that are supermodels or that look the way that you want them to look. Now, you can have a preference, you can have an opinion, you can say what you want to say, but these women are not real in like real life. They are fake video game characters that have real voice actors, but those voice actors aren't actually seen unless they actually scan their face. But that is not the case with this one right here, because I saw this post on Twitter from this dude, and he's sitting here and he's complaining about Aloy, whatever, not looking pretty in the game, not looking pretty, looking too masculine, and complaining about Sony's characters not looking good enough for him. And the picture that he links is ridiculous, because it's like, wait a minute, this girl, Aloy, she's like in a post-apocalyptic dinosaur, metal dinosaurs and stuff like that. There's not makeup and lipstick and all this stuff that's around to make her look good. So even if you wanted to try to justify it, there's no justification for what's going on. But I just find it ridiculous that they're worrying about how a fake woman looks in a video game instead of actually worrying about how maybe your woman looks in real life or whatever you're into in real life, because this just seems ridiculous. And the fact that there'd be 4,000 people that like this, that actually agree with him at the time that I'm looking, this is ridiculous. Now, he got ratioed into oblivion. Okay, he did, but this is a bad take. This is one of the worst takes that I've seen on the PlayStation 5 when it comes down to it, man. That might be in the title, because this is a horrible take. Don't worry about how some fake video game character will look. You're not gonna get with her. She's not real. Go out there and find the girl that you want her to look like. Go find that girl in real life and see what you can do there. Stop worrying about how your video game character looks overall at the end of the day. I mean, like, I don't think it's worth it to kind of put this out there, you know, for no reason. But essentially he says, is it me or is Sony making their lead female protagonist look masculine as hell? Barely no curves or rough non-feminine features, unlike the average woman. Wow, unlike the average woman. Like, cough, cough, Last of Us Part 2, Ellie, etc. Just saying my 2 cents. Picked from the game on the left, fan made on the right, hire fans. So apparently hire the fans to make her wear makeup and hire her to look like that, because she can't look like this. So all girls in video games need to look like this girl on the right. This is a stupid post. Like I get it. Like, I'm not even mad. I'm actually thinking this is kind of funny. These weirdos that are sitting there and going back and forth and arguing for free all day on Twitter. Like, I get it. Heck, I've been into arguments and stuff like this, man. But I at least try to talk about it here in a video. But this is absolutely ridiculous, in my opinion. Like, stop worrying about how the character looks in a video game. Half the time, you're just going to see the back of her head anyway, because you're going to be playing the game, you know? I mean, yes, you're going to maybe pan the camera around and cut scenes and all of that, but it's going to just be about the game. And it's not going to be about how she looks once you start playing the game. So this is ridiculous. It got a lot of traction. I talked about it, gave my thoughts on it, but yeah, this is silly. This person's silly, and I think that there was more than enough people to let him know how silly his post is when it comes down to it. I don't care how these girls look. They're not real. All I'm worried about is how my actual woman looks in real life, and she looks fantastic. She's absolutely gorgeous. So yeah, that's what I'm worried about, not how fake Aloy is. Like, oh, heck yeah, let me get some fake Aloy action going on here. That doesn't matter at the end of the day. But anyway, what do you guys think about this? Let me know your thoughts about all these different topics in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Check out the links in the description. We've got Twitter. Go and give us a follow on there. Stay up to date on all latest gaming news and information. Also, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and share this video if you can. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll catch you for the next one. Peace.